Hey everybody, welcome to OG55 Live, the very first live show of Orange Grove 55. Thank you all so much for joining us today. So we're going to do things pretty much like how we always do them. We're going to talk, the parks. And we're going to have fun talking about the parks. And what we're going to do, if you at home submit a super chat question, we're going to dedicate the last half hour or so of the show to your super chats. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you submit a super chat and I don't address it right away, it's not because I'm ignoring you. We're just going to save all of them for the very end. So I just want to do that right out the gate.
That goes for comments too, right? Just like, if we have relevant comments, we'll go ahead and save them, and we'll hit up the audience in the last 30 minutes, right? Is that right?
Absolutely. Cool. Absolutely. So before we get started, I'm going to introduce my fantastic panel. First up right here, Mr. VashSky, host of Freshly Squeezed. How you doing today, Dre?
Doing very well. This is a first time for everything. Hey, got people streaming in, so it's pretty cool. This is a learning experience for all of us. I'm excited to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. Before we get started, if you can let everyone know at home know where they can find you on social media.
Oh yeah, best place to find me is at VashSky. It's right down here, right where it usually is. To interact with me on Twitter, that's where it's at right there. And it's been really fun fielding that discussion. You want to see me? Well, I'm on your channel at Orange Grove 55, not just right now at this very moment, which is crazy, but also, as a contributor on the channel at Freshly Squeezed, your source of juice, news, and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove. So those are the places you can find me.
Perfect. Thank you, Dre. And down below, I have George, Mr. Disney Family Man 23. How you doing today, George?
I'm doing good. How about you both?
I'm doing great. I think Vash is doing great.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for this. It's glad to be back doing the live gig.
So, George, if you could let everybody know at home where they can find you on social media before we jump into our topic today.
Absolutely. You can find me on my YouTube channel at Disney Family Man 23, and also on Instagram under the Disney Family Man 23 name, and also on Twitter at Disney George. And currently, you could also find me also on Orange Grove 55's channel with my segment Citrus Corner, which I do have several videos I have in mind coming up. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
Perfect. All right, let's dive right in. So today's topic is the Battle of the 50s. The Battle of the 50s. So as you guys know at home, Walt Disney World celebrating its 50th anniversary over there in Orlando. And Disneyland celebrated its 50th anniversary way back in 2005. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to compare the approaches that Disney took with each of these milestone celebrations, right? So we're going to kind of break it up a little bit. The first aspect of the Battle of the 50s is attractions.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, it's been a while since Disneyland's 50th. So to kind of recap as to what Disneyland was offering during its 50th, we got a renovated Space Mountain. They gutted it. They gave us a brand new track, brand new special effects. It was pretty cool.
Sizable investment, sizable refurb. I mean, this was huge.
It was massive, absolutely massive. We got Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters in Tomorrowland.
Yep.
We also got Monsters Inc. over at DCA. So that
and a refurbished Enchanted Tiki Room. Let's not forget that.
And a refurbished Enchanted Tiki Room. Exactly. So we got some refurbs. We had a couple new things. That's pretty much the gist of what we got for the 50th. Now for Walt Disney World, they just opened Remy, Ratatouille. They're getting Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, and Tron, the Tron coaster. So, Dre, I'm going to start with you. I mean, look, these are the offerings. We just mentioned all the offerings from both 50s. Which resort comes out on top if you're comparing attractions?
Yeah, attractions-wise, you got to give it up to Walt Disney World. I mean, these are some big heavy hitters here. I mean, huge. So, look, I'm not. It's not to downplay some of the enhancements that Disneyland got at that time. I mean, look, like you alluded to, Space Mountain. They took out the entire track of that with the dome on, by the way. Remember, the track, was kind of built within this structure before it was actually covered up. But no, they took all the track out, gutted it completely, like you said, lowered the floor a little bit, darkened the interior, and then rebuilt the track from the inside out, essentially, and added disability access. So that was a huge deal because, if you can't transfer on and off within, I think dispatch times, I want to say it's like less than 15 seconds. I mean, it's quick. Okay. But if you can't do that, then it'll cascade. It'll go down. The disability access kind of track switch right there was a huge deal and allowed for more players. For more guests to be there. So that's pretty cool. The Tiki Room, again, I mean, thatched roofs were coming out of order and sync, and they cleaned up the birds and refurbished that attraction heavily. We also what is it? Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. Okay, well, all right. It's okay. Look, hey, people stand in line for it. It's still pretty popular. I think location has something to do with it, but okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. But that said, though, I mean, Tron, that's it. You just put that down the table, walk away. I think Walt Disney World comes out on top on this specific issue.
Absolutely. And, hey, you guys know I'm a Disneyland diehard, but there's like really in this arena with the attractions, there's no comparison. You guys, Walt Disney World is getting Tron. Yeah. They're getting the Guardians Cosmic Rewind. That's 2 e-tickets. Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't even get one new e-ticket at Disneyland for our 50th. I mean, we got a renovated e-ticket, I guess Space Mountain.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Which, the benefits were still
absolutely
taking advantage of. Also, too, they got music to work consistently on that attraction, too. That was the other big thing. That was when the Michael Giacchino score was put in and all that. So that was pretty substantial. But yes, it's not comparable. George, what do you have to say about all this?
I have to lean more towards Walt Disney World myself. However, this is where it kind of balances out a bit because if you really think about it, for Disneyland's 50th, Walt Disney World also got some attractions as well, part of that same promotion. So with Walt Disney World during Disneyland's 50th, we got Soarin' and Expedition Everest. So it seems like no matter which way you go, Disney World ends up getting something, no matter whose anniversary it is.
I know, right?
and look, I am a huge advocate for Disneyland Resort. I stand up for our little park in Anaheim. I love our little park in Anaheim. That made me so mad.
I know.
We had to share our anniversary with all the other Disney parks. It was a global celebration. No, it wasn't. It was Disneyland's 50th. Why? I don't know why Michael Eisner did that. That was terrible.
So to kind of give some love to Disneyland, I got to give it kind of a little bit to Disneyland due to the fact of because of their anniversary, Walt Disney World ended up getting 2 very popular attractions at Epcot and Animal Kingdom. But in the end, was it really beneficial to Disneyland? So I would have to still say Walt Disney World.
Hey, we're going to have a little bit of an intangibles offerings section later on. And we have benefited from the 50th a lot in terms of a lot of other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Attractions wise, though,
no.
You gotta give Walt Disney World credit.
Remember, fellas, I got over here Soarin' and Expedition Everest, but you guys got Astro Blasters. So,
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
what a marquee attraction and a little Omni mover, shoot 'em up. These things are comparable. Yes.
Yeah. One thing I will say though, and we'll dive into like the decor and the aesthetics of these anniversaries. But one thing I will say though, because it kind of ties into the attractions right now in terms of like the refurb of Space Mountain and the Tiki Room, is that I think Disney did a much better job at Disneyland in regards to kind of like freshening up the park prior to the 50th than they did at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
They did a much better job at kind of cleaning things up, making it look like it was that park when the 50th drop hit in July of 2005. It was immaculate, spotless, sparkling. It was gorgeous,
Well, we'll have to save that for later on in the discussion because there's so many thoughts I have on that particular issue. Attractions wise, we got it. We got to give it up to we got to give it up to Walt Disney World. But
Absolutely.
maybe that brings us on to entertainment, because I got Ranking the Mouse here, and he's like, "Hey, I got to go Walt Disney World." In the attractions category. It's like, okay, I get it. But let's see a couple of the others here.
Yeah, absolutely. So entertainment's our next category. Okay, so now for entertainment, because I understand like the 50th for Disneyland was a long time ago. Just to kind of refresh everyone's memory, DCA got the Block Party Bash Parade. Okay, and my opinion on that will actually surprise you, I think.
Okay.
And Disneyland got Remember Dreams Come True, the incredible fireworks show. Walt Disney World this year for their 50th, they got Enchantment. Walt Disney World this year for their 50th got Enchantment fireworks show over at the Magic Kingdom, and they got Harmonious over at Epcot, right? And they got Kite Tails, $1 billion entertainment offering Kite Tails. No, I was kidding, but yeah,
oh boy,
so that's pretty much what Walt Disney World has got. Now, in my opinion, in terms of entertainment, I got to give this one to Disneyland because.
Well, there's a shocker.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, I got to give this one to Disneyland. Remember Dreams Come True is probably the best fireworks show Disneyland has ever done. Even if, and I'm not, this isn't even hyperbole or anything. I mean, I really do believe this. Even if Disneyland Resort didn't offer anything else, even if they didn't do the parade at DCA, just that show alone, I think tops both of the new shows in Florida. In my humble opinion, that show was pure perfection.
Look, there's a reason that show played for like 8 years afterwards. I mean, it was a favorite. It was really. I mean, this is Steve Davison kind of he had done previous works obviously, but kind of really stepping up his game for this one, and it showed. I mean, they incorporated not only like the park into the theme of the show, kind of sandwiched between wishes a little bit, but they also incorporate the park into the show. Really, if you saw it from the hub, you saw not only like, the hub centric stuff, but you saw the Matterhorn kind of like, shoot off a mortar from its location, in the Pirates of the Caribbean section. You had the Haunted Mansion, the whole ring of the hub just fire it up. I mean, it was awesome. It was really when I saw that show for the first time, unbelievable. Go ahead.
And Dre, remember, and George too, when we were on your show, George, Citrus Corner, talking about Harmonious, right?
Right.
I kept saying simplicity wins the day. You don't need giant octopus metal arms, all these contraptions and everything to put on a good show. The great thing about Remember Dreams Come True at Disneyland was that it didn't need any of that. They utilize fireworks in really creative ways. So the comets that they shoot over the castle, they were both comets, but then they were also cannonballs for Pirates of the Caribbean. It was so good. They didn't need the giant metal arms behind the castle. And
sometimes too much. Sometimes too much is
too much.
It's too much. I mean, honestly, when I see those arms for Harmonious, what it kind of reminds me of is that oversized droid in The Incredibles. Like, that's something like I would expect to see something like for a Pixar. If they wanted to add something, add that to the Incredicoaster.
Right.
I mean, like add some extra, flair to it. But speaking as far as the entertainment, I think also what captivates for great entertainment is the soundtrack, along with the fireworks. So no matter what you have to it, if you have a great soundtrack with it, it's perfect. And OG, I remember, I think you had brought it up during another show with Leanne Rimes for Remember When.
Oh,
the song for that. I mean, that was just, I still keep on listening to that song, even though that was around the time for the 50th. I mean, that song is just, it means so much, and it carries on the legacy of what Disneyland was all about. And it's nothing against, what's the song for Enchantment? See, I can't even remember the title. You are the magic.
Yeah, I think it's You Are the Magic.
Or so it's one of those. See, I can't even remember. See, so that's where it, Remember When was more timeless for me, where this seems more, it's concurrent. Not saying it's a bad song, it's
right.
done, but I mean, to put it with the 50th of Walt Disney World, there's just no placement for it for me.
Yeah, it's and then I gotta talk about Block Party Bash over at DCA.
Yeah,
I gotta talk about this because this is one of those shows, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Glowfest. I don't know if you guys remember Glowfest, which was like that street party thing in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Glowfest was the ugliest thing you'd ever seen in the daytime.
Yes.
It was absolutely disgusting. It looked horrible. Okay.
In one of the ugliest parks at that time.
Like, exactly. Exactly.
This is pre 2012.
Yeah, exactly. Aesthetically, it was not doing much.
Mm-hmm.
Block Party Bash is kind of similar. It's very much an ugly parade. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. But here's the thing. Just like Glowfest, which I absolutely loved, I had the best time at Glowfest. Probably because I was drunk, but whatever. Whatever. It still was a fun time. I love Glowfest.
And just think if they still had Glowfest adjacent to Cars Land, you'd really be having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, Glowfest was a really great time. And Block Party Bash was a great time. Block Party Bash, the cast members got so into that. And basically, for those of you at home that are not familiar with Block Party Bash, go on YouTube and check it out. It's a high energy. It's a parade / like street party. And it was like mostly, I think it was all Pixar themed. And the floats would come by and they would stop and they would have like a little party. And the cast members would like take kids from the parade route and dance with them and what have you. And it was a fun time. I loved Block Party Bash. The music was energetic. I was actually sad to see that one go. I was. Did you ever see that one, Dre?
No, I walked by it a lot. I think we only saw it like once. But it played frequently, so I got to experience a bunch of it a lot. I remember making my way through it a lot, and going to Aladdin or something else. But look, it kind of set the tone for DCA that they're going to do something a little bit different. Now, meanwhile, at Disneyland, you had Parade of Dreams, which was kind of a redone kind of Parade of Stars with added floats to it and kind of a new theme, and the 50th float right in the front there. That was part of the 50th as well. And so you had your more traditional Disneyland parade over there, and your fun kind of live kind of what should I say, high energy kind of hip, but not DCA hip, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you kind of had your more modern parade over at DCA, and I think the two really created a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah. And I think Disney guests kind of take things like that for granted. Like, at the time, a lot of people might be saying, oh, this is like the most vile thing I've ever seen in a Disney park. But looking back on it now, we need more stuff like that to come back, because it livens up the park. It gives it a pulse. As we walk down the streets, we want to see activity here. We want to see activity over there. It's like we need more of that. So, and I've never personally got to see it in person, but I have watched a lot of videos on it. And to me, I think it kind of fit well in DCA with its quirky type of, manner. It definitely wouldn't fit in Disneyland, but as you said, Vash, that, Disneyland had its Parade of Dreams, where with DCA had a more fun, hip, type of way with the Block Party Bash.
And the thing I loved about Parade of Dreams was that it had Walt audio in it. Like, that was the kind of the running theme with the 50th. You had Remember Dreams Come True. You had the Walt audio. You had the Parade of Dreams, the Walt audio. It was very much a love letter, not just to the park, but really to the man who started the park.
That was so disappointing to me when I watched Disney Enchantment. I thought for sure we would have got some audio with him talking about Epcot, his final dream coming true. This is about the 50th, but even with Disneyland's 60th, they still brought up in the beginning of Disneyland Forever about, over 60 years ago, you'd be standing in the middle of an orange grove, hence the orange grove. Boy. You would think that they would have paid some homage to the person that made it all happen.
Right.
For Walt, because technically Walt Disney World was not, after his death, it was not going to go through. And if it wasn't for, a lot of the executives, and Roy Disney, his brother, Walt Disney World is where it's at today.
Let me ask both of you fellas. I'm going to ask you both a question, and I'm actually going to pose this question to our audience as well. And you can post your answer in the comments. With Disneyland, it was very much when it comes to Walt and Disneyland, it was very much okay. Walt proposed this idea of the park. It was built, and he lived long enough to kind of see it through, and even expand and change things along the way, right?
Yeah.
With Florida, though, it's a different situation, the relationship between Walt Disney and Florida, because a lot of the stuff that we have, the audio, the quotes of Walt Disney talking about the Florida project, it's about stuff that never got done.
Yeah.
So is it now, I'll start with you, Dre, then I'll go down to Mr. Family Man, but is it hard? And I don't even know the answer to this. I'm kind of just posing the question, kind of seeing where everyone's at right now. Is it hard, though, when you have a bunch of audio of Walt Disney saying, we're going to build a community of tomorrow, and that never happened? Is that kind of an issue for Disney when they try to utilize Walt Disney quotes or what have you with Florida, when the thing that he was kind of talking about didn't really happen? What do you think, Dre? Then we'll go down to George.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was more about Epcot than it was the kind of Disney World project, as it was known as at that time, Project X. It was more about Epcot in Walt's mind, but there's still some good Walt clips that you could have clipped out of some of the promotional material and some of the kind of media material that they put out featuring Walt at the time, talking about the Disney World project, talking about the theme parks, talking about hey, we've heard the quotes before. We reference them on the show all the time. Twice the size of Manhattan. The blessing of size. All that. You could have done something creative. And again, where's that Roy audio from his opening day dedication speech for the Magic Kingdom when it opened on October 1st, 1971? Where is that at? I think there are ways to kind of imbue it with some nostalgia and with some of the history and with some of the legacy that this amazing resort has had. But the fact that they didn't do anything, they didn't do anything like that for Walt Disney World, I think it kind of shows, and it's reflected in the kind of the audience's perception of these shows as they have debuted with this 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World.
Yeah, George, what do you think, Matt? Is it hard to kind of do the Walt audio thing with Florida because a lot of the stuff that Walt was talking about didn't really happen? Or do you agree with Dre where you can sort of surgically kind of edit and maneuver these quotes to kind of still fit?
I think a lot of people have that one-way perception that with Walt, being able to walk the streets of Disneyland was part of that park. There's that real deep interconnection that, okay, we have to incorporate Walt into this park because this was his baby. This was the OG park that started it all. Right. But at the same time, he had a much bigger dream in mind outside of Disneyland. And it was something that was so ambitious and so, even though he didn't get to see his dream kind of come to reality, it was his handprints were still on it. And right. I think when coming to talking about adding audio or visuals, I think of what Dre said, have Roy's dedication speech for Magic Kingdom and have Walt Disney's audio about what his plans were for Epcot actually be at Epcot. Infuse it into the core, maybe project something off of Spaceship Earth where it's showing, his plans, because at some point we are going to get Dreamer's Point at Epcot where they're making a statue of Walt sitting, looking out into the park. So even though that wasn't his intentional vision of Epcot, it's still a representation of what he stood for. And I think it's sort of kind of taking him in vain to not have him part of that celebration.
Now that Walt statue that is coming to Epcot is one of my favorite things.
Out of everything that they could put in Epcot, I prayed to God that statue stayed. Because if nothing else, if Guardians didn't come, if Ratatouille didn't come, I wanted that statue because it signified a part of Walt that we never really got to experience upon his death. So it's kind of like placing his spirit in there without him actually physically being able to walk Epcot.
Well, and the thing I love about it, and George, if you could lower your audio a little bit, I'm hearing an echo.
Got a little bit of echo there.
Yeah. But the thing I love about the Walt statue at Epcot, it reminds me very much of the Walt statue over at DCA. And what I mean by that is that these statues are brought to ground level. You have Walt, the Epcot statue, Walt can be sitting on the ground, kind of overlooking things. Yeah. At DCA, he's on the ground with Mickey. It's very much he's eye level. He's with the guests. He's not interacting, but you know what I'm saying? He's part of. We're all with Walt on ground level. The thing I don't like about the partner statue over at Disneyland is that it elevates Walt to like this god status. Like he's like, you know, Odin or something, right? Like he's on this pedestal and he's like this god. He's, you know, surrounded by flower bed. It's a different vibe. And I mean,
I know he is, you know, god status, but you know, maybe not the park. I get what you're saying, OG. I had to clarify that.
You know what I'm saying though? It just feels a little disconnected. I feel like Walt would much prefer.
Well, he always wanted to be like done on his guest level. He always was.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It just feels a little more like, okay, he's down with everybody, he's enjoying the park like everybody else, kind of energy. The partner statue always felt a little bit disconnected, like, oh, here's this god-like figure, and then we're all here, you know. It just felt weird. But Buena Vista Street and Epcot are both handling it perfect.
In you know, I see Almost comment right there. You know, would Walt Disney be upset with how Disneyland is right now? He would be upset with a partner statue, I think. I don't think he would even like that. And a lot of Imagineers and people who knew him at the time would kind of said, I don't think he would quite dig that. But you know, that's the kind of the tough thing, you know, about this. You want to be reverent to somebody, but maybe not, you know, elevate them to quite that highest status.
I think,
but honor them.
I think the overall look of Disneyland and even Walt Disney World, I think Walt would be satisfied with. I think he would have a big problem with operations right now.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's move on to and we'll address Alma's question at the very end. We'll kind of deep dive into that because that's a loaded Alma. That's a fantastic question.
It is a very loaded question.
On with that one.
I just wanted to reference the comment section a little bit, you know, while getting on here. So we'll go ahead and we'll chamber
We still recognize you folks, so don't think that we don't see your comments. You know, we definitely can see them.
Yeah, and we're going to dedicate the whole back end of the show to all of them. But Alma, that's a fantastic question. I have so many opinions on that. But like in terms of like the 50th and the decor, like. What do you guys think? This is a tough one. You have the Disneyland's 50th decor, and you have Walt Disney World's 50th decor. George, I'll start with you first. Who wins the day on this?
Well, I think
it's a tough one.
It really is because they both kind of have their own subtle ways of how they were, you know, doing it. I think with Disneyland, it was more straight, you know, play on gold, where with Walt Disney World, it has this iridescent type of feel to it. So, and I think it fits well. I think the gold fits Disneyland and the iridescent fits Walt Disney World. Now, this was also before Disneyland got that major paint job on Sleeping Beauty Castle. I think that had that paint job would have come with the decor of the 50th, I think it would have really made it pop. So I just have to kind of right now I have to kind of go towards Walt Disney World, to be honest, because I think with the iridescent look, it's a play on where it's not just a typical it's you know just gold. However, the 50th in the center of Cinderella Castle is kind of appalling because when you have projection on a castle, you can't see anything of what they're trying to put on. So, I mean, as far as the look of it goes, I'd say Walt Disney World, but I think as far as the execution, I think Disneyland kind of has, I don't know, a little bit more of the upper hand of that. But that's a tough one. That really is a tough one.
It's more of a toss-up for sure. What do you think, Dre?
Okay, so are we going for decor like in the parks, or are we going like the general I don't know, graphical design theme for the actual 50th stylings and for merchants.
Well, I was kind of thinking more of like the decor in the parks, but if you want to go down that road too, that's fine. That definitely fits the category. So either way is fine. If you want to do both,
so
we can talk both.
Yeah. So in the respect of like design, I do like the styling of Walt Disney World stuff. Quite a bit. It's unique, like you said, George. Than the gold. A lot of people do gold. Gold has been done a lot, but part of that trend was started at Disneyland, and they rock gold pretty well. In fact, they rock gold so well. Every single one of the opening day attractions at Disneyland rocked a gold ride vehicle. So got that going for it right there. Yep. So, but it goes beyond that, folks. They did a complete revitalization of the Disneyland Resort to get it show ready, so to speak. Even more magic than they had before. And look, this was just coming out of the Paul Pressler era. It's kind of the waning kind of moments of the Eisner era, and the parks have been through a lot at that point. And some things weren't cared for. And Matt, we met, and everybody going into the 50th, it was like, let's get this back to up to snuff here. Repaint all of Main Street, I believe. They rehabbed various portions of the Disneyland Resort in multiple areas, like we had already alluded to in the attraction section. They redid a lot of the attractions that were showing some wear and tear on them. It really was phenomenal. And I would say too, like Disneyland's castle, I think it looked pretty good. I could definitely see the castle decor being a toss up between the two, but I don't know. There's something about Disneyland's that I liked.
And I have to actually add on, because I completely forgot about that. Rogue Disney, who wrote in, had mentioned the beacons of light, and I think that really fits well as far as for Epcot, because if you actually watch that light up presentation for Epcot, it signifies of what Epcot really is about, with the Communicore and the energy. And I mean, that really surprised me even further more than what Harmonious did.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of decor, I agree with you guys. This is a toss-up. I really liked what Disneyland did in terms of like kind of beautifying, really freshening up the park prior to the 50th. Now, like Dre mentioned, this was kind of out of necessity too, because remember, we're coming out of that Paul Pressler era where things were falling apart. You couldn't have a falling apart Disneyland on its big 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
It was kind of out of necessity, but whatever the reason was, it still looked incredible. I mean, the park, I'd never seen it that amazing. I mean, it was so great. And
they've really kind of strived to maintain that appearance going forward. So we did have kind of residual benefits from that too.
Absolutely. And I like the gold touches that they did, like with the ride vehicles, for the original opening day attractions, everybody. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but like in 2005, like Dumbo, it would get a gold Dumbo. All the original opening day attractions got like one gold vehicle, which I thought was a really nice touch.
You had a big old gold Jungle Cruise boat and stuff, and that was sick.
It was pretty cool. There are a couple things though about both celebrations that I don't really care for. There's a lot of this kind of filler that I think they could put the money to better use. One of the things I would consider as filler, and they both did it. Disneyland had a bunch of 50s around the park. I don't think they were characters like they are at Florida, but we had like an Adventureland kind of wooden 50.
Yeah, they had. I think there was 50 50s strewn throughout all the park, and some of these were like, you had like the wooden one in like Enchanted Tiki Room, right? And you had like the one carved into the rock face at like Splash Mountain. So it was pretty. I mean, they ranged.
They ranged, right? And they weren't characters, but they were definitely like in the same kind of like vein as what you're seeing in Walt Disney World right now with their character 50s. And I could be completely in the minority here. I don't care for that stuff. I could have done without it when they did it for Disneyland. I can do it without it with Florida. Take that money, whatever it is, and put it towards something else. Don't really care. I'm fine with like 50th banners and things like that. The statues and all that stuff. that money could be put towards beautifying an attraction or something that actually needs it. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys feel on that? Like those 50s, are they kind of filler? Are they necessary? Are they kind of a waste? Or do you love them?
Go ahead.
No,
Jeff.
no, go ahead.
No. I'll piggyback off you because my thoughts I guess are still going through my head. So go ahead, George. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I do recall seeing like the 50s, in the park, like seeing it online. I thought for me for that is kind of a little bit, I think, going a little bit too much as far as that goes. As far as the golden statues, I guess I'm okay with it, but I can also do without it. Like, it's not like a dire thing, but I think it's a nice little touch up just to have the representation for the 50th to say, these characters represent, in Disney, we got 50 characters, they're in gold, what have you. I think it's like one of those things where it'll be cool to actually see it in person, maybe take some pictures, for the memory book, so to speak. But I don't really think it's a dire thing that if Disney were to say, hey, we're not going to do it this time, it wouldn't change anything for me.
There is one thing I did actually really enjoy when it came to some of this decor at Disneyland was they would allow you to go on Disneyland's website and upload your family photos.
Just gonna say this, yeah.
Remember,
you
were talking about upload your family photos, and Disney would actually utilize them in creating these gorgeous like mosaics. So they would take all these family photos, put it into a computer, and it would come out like there would be a giant say like mural of like Mickey Mouse. But Mickey Mouse it consists of all these family photos from all these guests that submitted their photos online.
Let me see if I can look one of these up.
And that's what they did with Epcot as well, not for like the 50th or anything, but what we called the graveyard as soon as you walked in to Epcot, where they had like it looked like mural things, like it's part of like entering into Future World, where you had these little tiny photos of all people that entered through the park.
It was pretty cool. Those are pretty cool. And actually, a couple of my photos got used, surprisingly.
Really?
Yes, they did. It was pretty cool. I was kind of surprised, but a couple of my photos actually did get used in those.
Here we go. You want to share my screen there?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and share this. This is what we're talking about here, folks.
Right.
This is all. That's all made up of guests submitted photos.
Right. And the interesting thing about that, there were 30 of them placed throughout the park of these mosaics. You can see that one was in Smallwood Mall. This one right next to Toontown, you can see it right there. That kind of stuff was really cool because it involved the guests. They say kind of you are the magic. No, in this way you actually were, and it was materialized in a way that people can understand and appreciate. And I think like that was a really, really cool.
That was really well
touch.
done. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the big issue, I think, when it comes to how Disney is approaching Walt Disney World's 50th. The Disneyland 50th felt very intimate. Yeah. It felt very it was very much about the park and Walt and the guest, how it on like in these mosaics and everything. It felt very much like the company and the guests, and we're all celebrating this amazing place together, right? Yes. It was kind of like this family, real intimate kind of thing. In Florida, I don't get that feeling. It's kind of like...
It feels like a consumer product expo.
Right, exactly. It feels more consumer product driven, more corporate driven. It's more like, okay, we're going to throw a bunch of the IP statues. There's no reference to the 1971, really. It's more about just like... it just feels different. It feels much more corporate than the 50th did, in my opinion.
Well, even like Theme Park Casual and Rogue Disney, they're chiming in here, and they have similar sentiments, which is even with the characters, right? That they did put it on the park. To your point, OG, it's all like the modern characters, and not to do with the Walt Disney World's kind of unique history and its unique characters, and maybe characters that were part of the time period when Magic Kingdom was first cropping up. Or the characters that we kind of have mentally associated with the Walt Disney World going forward didn't have anything to do with those nearly. There was a couple in there, but mostly focused on modern characters, and it's like this is supposed to be
because they have what Rocket and Groot, which they're great characters.
Yeah,
But for me, that has no signification for Walt Disney World's 50th. You know, I'd rather see Snow White and all of the Seven Dwarfs before Rocket and Groot.
That would have been a cool nod to the history of at least the Magic Kingdom. That would have been cool. But yeah, you get me on this, right? It's a bunch of modern characters, and I understand that Groot and Rocket are going to be integrated into the
future of Epcot.
Yeah, the future of Epcot with Cosmic Rewind and stuff like that. We get that, but it's like this is supposed to celebrate the history, or at least that's kind of the perception that was put out there. Based on 50th or milestone promotions that they've done before in the past, and almost everybody's like, where's the history? Where's the history?
Right.
Where's the nostalgia? You know, we've been coming to this place for 50 years for a reason. How about we highlight some of those things? And at Disneyland with the mosaics, that was really cool. They even had like a little like portal, like terminal that you could look up, if your, photos were featured based on your last name and stuff like that. That was a really cool implementation of that. On the day of the 50th, they had 6 large screens set up in various areas at Disneyland Park, and they would show historical footage from Disneyland over the years. It was really, really cool. Like, they played up the history, they played up the nostalgia.
And that's what an anniversary should be all about. It should be about the history of where it got to that point. It shouldn't be a celebration of characters it has nothing to do with that. If you want to incorporate that with little touches, then that's fine, but that should not be the main core focus of what this anniversary should be. And I actually think that Rogue Disney had mentioned about Steakhouse 71, which I think is a nice touch, for Walt Disney World.
But that should have been all of it.
Yes.
Look, right. I mean, like you had one of those areas, like the Great Moments Theater, right? They had transformed it into like a 50th historical kind of looking back on the history through Disneyland up until that point. So they had like old, like models. They had old sculptings that Blank Gibson did and stuff like that. They had the model of Disneyland that you now see in the Opera House kind of stood up. It was laying down, had a lot more propping on it as a result, and you could kind of see what the park looked like back in July 17th in 1955. They really played up the history of it, and they also had the Steve Martin special, which we didn't even talk about in the entertainment section. Just creating this great, perception of like, this is a historic milestone. This is a historic thing that happened in this company's history and in kind of the world history. And honestly, from the 50th, from all of that, that's why I became the Disneyland fan that I am today, is because they highlighted the history and I wanted to know more about its history. And ever since, well, here I am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Rogue Disney there should have been an Uncle Orville in the tub statue. That's great.
That's great. That's fantastic, Rogue.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. So speaking of let's talk about the actual day of the celebration a little bit, right? Like, let's talk about July 17th, 2005. Let's talk about October 1st, 2021. Let's compare those days. Let's compare those days, huh?
Let's compare those days.
Oh, yes. I got my 50th years. I don't know if you can see the Disneyland. I got the Disneyland sign right here.
Oh, I see it. I see it
right
up
here. In like, I got the ears right there.
Got the ears right there, all framed up.
And that beautiful. And I'm going to show you guys something. This is pretty cool. This is what the annual passes look like, or at least limited time, I think, of the for the 50th at Disneyland. Look how great those were, man. I mean, look at that.
You can pay $20 for your paper pass today.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hold a candle to this Tinkerbell 50, though. And Gray has one too. He's got a different style.
That's right. Even like the later ones that they produced, not the nice Mylar ones they gave out in March, but these ones right here, even these are very, very nice and allows you to commemorate this, big occasion with this, which we know Walt Disney World is doing too. But
I have my pass now, current, and it's on here.
Yeah.
There it is, right?
Looking good, man. I got mine too. Yeah, but like let's talk about the actual day celebration. Oh, look
So
at that.
the map right there.
Nice.
I think
Look
it's
at that.
like that. The map.
Oh man.
The maps that they gave out were friggin' awesome. But yeah, let's get into it.
I love the vintage look of that.
Yeah.
It's very vintage.
I believe it's it's kind of like a representation of what they would produce at the time. I think is what it says. But it goes through you got like historical photographs over here, you've got all kinds of stuff, and it just looks awesome.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's just this, it made you remember.
Yeah. Remember when?
Yeah, exactly. Remember dreams come true.
So let's talk about the day. So July 17, 2005, that was such an incredible moment. Man, they had like the big Jumbotron TVs. They played Walt's opening day speech. They had like the history of the park. It was a real emotional time.
Yeah.
And I really loved, they had Julie Andrews come out. I remember Julie Andrews came out and all that, and the characters. And
Let me see if I can find that footage.
Yeah, if you can find that, Dre, I'll go ahead and share it. An incredibly beautiful, beautiful moment. Now, there, yeah, I can see.
Art Linkletter.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share that.
Let me see.
There we go. Walt Disney World with all their offerings for art.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, Bob Iger. I'm trying to find Julie Andrews here, so give me one moment here. But yeah, big, kind of dedicated. And by the way, these kind of events, I don't think they were media limited. I think they actually had them in the park operating at the time. And if you were a guest in the park that just so happened to be lucky enough to see these things, you could see them.
Yeah.
This
Art Linkletter, I miss him.
Yeah. This wasn't the day, but they had a similar kind of ceremony for the actual day. This was like to kick it off. They kicked it off in like March, which was a little bit weird, but okay, we'll get you.
Yeah, that was a beautiful event, and I know Christina Aguilera came out and she sang, and Leanne Rimes came out and sang the 50th anniversary song. Remember when? There's a young Bob Iger, young Bob there, huh?
Before he got the grays.
Yeah, and then there's Jumbotron. It was just a beautiful day. It really was. July 17th, 2005 was a beautiful day. Now, George, you're a Florida guy. You're more of a Florida guy.
Yes.
Even though you love Carl's Jr. Traitor.
One of the main reasons I come out to California.
But you're a Florida guy for all intents and purposes. You're more of a local there. Now, what were your thoughts about the October 1st celebrations a few weeks ago for the 50th for Walt Disney World?
Well, I have to say, I was planning on actually being there on that one day, just to say that I was there for the grand start of the 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World, because I was able to see what Disneyland's was. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if Walt Disney World is going to be anything like Disneyland, I want to be a part of it. But by following on social media, and I was so glad that I was not there on October 1st for the 50th. And it pains me to say that. Yeah. But it just felt like, and I think, again, Rogue Disney, he said it felt like Black Friday at Walmart. and I think
magical.
He actually hit the nail right on the head, because every time that I would watch something with a media event or someone on YouTube, it had to do 7 hours to get into the Emporium.
Wow.
7-hour wait to get into the Emporium. Fights were breaking out. Cast members were crying. It's like, that's not for a 50th anniversary. You go down there for the nostalgia, for the history, for the memories, the moments. You don't go down there to fist fight over a Starbucks tumbler.
Hey, you'll never forget that fist fight, though, George. Those are memories that last a lifetime.
Remember when? No.
And Rogue Disney just wrote right now, I got my tumbler, though.
Well, funny. And that's the thing, too, right? The thing about, I don't know where we're going. Oh, yeah, some of the commercials that we played at the time. So the thing about it was, like, Walt Disney World, they used it as a merchandise event. It wasn't really about Walt Disney World, its history. No. It was a big merchant food event. And it's like, that's not what people I think were expecting from something, that was supposed to honor this historic milestone.
And I was one of them. It caught me off guard.
Right.
It's really unfortunate. And that fight, by the way, in the Emporium at Magic Kingdom, that was completely avoidable. For Disneyland's 50th, they really went all out. I was actually surprised the lengths that they went to back on that day. People started arriving at midnight or even earlier than that, starting lighting up. I think like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, they started having everybody queued up in Disney California Adventure. And the way they managed it was they gave you different colored wristbands depending on which block or which hour that you actually came in. And, that's how they kind of tracked people while they were in that park. And then right around the time of opening, like maybe like 7 or 8, then they started having everybody orderly go into the, Disneyland. And if you wanted to get merch, you could. I think they were selling it in Big Thunder Ranch area, the exclusive 50th merch. And I will say the merch game, Walt Disney World, a lot better than Disneyland. What they had, I think it was only like a case of like maybe a pin and a couple other things. I mean, it was almost nothing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Walt Disney World, you have just the gambit of stuff. Kind of tells you where their mind's at. But anyway, so if you wanted to get into that line of merch, you could. And that line wrapped around all of Rivers of America. Very orderly. Had a lot of cast members there kind of handling and managing the whole thing. And it turned out to be a pleasant experience. If you were in line waiting for the 50th anniversary Disneyland merchandise, there was a screen there that you could see the day's ceremony and festivities that would take place. So they really kind of treated people well, and they were they were staffed accordingly, and operationally they did things well as well.
Yeah, they could have avoided it. That was.
So you can see here making their way in from DCA into the park that day. Go ahead, OG.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, DCA has changed so much.
That's crazy, right?
Thank God.
Oh my God. And you know what? Hey, look, I know my audience is going to hate me for saying this. I hated those California letters. I hated those.
I didn't like them.
No, I hated them. And here's the thing. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, well, it's supposed to be a postcard. You're walking it. But it doesn't look like that, though. I know the intention, but it just looks like a bunch of big letters. It doesn't look like, it looks like the Goliath letters over at Six Flags Magic Mountain or something,
Yeah. I think where they have them now, like I think where are they now? They're at some park or something, right?
I'm
in
sorry,
California.
I just have to say this, OG, that you said that because when they had the special to promote DCA, I didn't know it was for DCA, and I turned it on and I thought the same exact thing of what your statement was. I thought, what's Mickey Mouse doing in front of Six Flags?
Yeah. It was hideous. I'm telling you, during that whole renovation of DCA, there was ugly icon after ugly icon that they were bulldozing, and I was celebrating every step of the way between the ugly California letters and that ugly dinosaur over on Route 66, that green or pink dino they used to have, and the Maliboomer. Oh, good riddance. DCA is so much better now without all that stuff.
It is far superior to what it was. Not good, but listen, it's, and everybody's kind of, waving everybody and stuff like that. This is how you treat your guest who, and Walt Disney World, they've been saving that date for a year. At this time, you could still go whenever you wanted to, obviously. And if you were lucky enough to get in, they really treated you right. Also, free cupcakes the entire day.
Not too shabby, not too shabby.
Yeah.
So what would you guys, I mean, like in terms of like, what are your thoughts on like, in terms of like the October 1st, like, do you feel like so you feel like it was missing sort of like that, like emotional, like park tie?
It was missing the heart. Yeah. It was missing the heart of what the 50th should have represented. It was a long time coming, and especially for what's going on in the world now, that we almost didn't have a Walt Disney World 50th anniversary. And I know that, they scrambled to put something together. All the more you would think that they would put more something dedicated to the history of Walt Disney World and Walt himself, and not keep on going on consumer products and merchandising and campaigning this, you have to have this, you have to have that. It's like, let's celebrate the 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World for what it is.
Absolutely. Now I have to ask you fellas a question. This special that was on ABC, Disney World's 50th, that was not October 1st, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was not part of that celebration.
No, it was for a private media event, I believe.
Okay, so this young lady here, Halle Bailey, she kind of blew my mind with her performance for "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." She kind of blew my mind. This was the kind of thing that they should have had on October 1st. They could have had her up there singing everything, and it would have been fantastic. This little girl, it was phenomenal. I don't know. Did you guys see this?
I did. Yes.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to see that yet. So
Dre, it's a song I've heard a million times, but her voice is incredible.
I will say I was hesitant of what she was going to bring for the live action Little Mermaid.
Right.
After hearing this, it now makes me ponder the question of, can she really pull that off? Because she has some vocals.
Oh, yeah, does she? Oh, my God. I couldn't believe it.
She's got the pipes. Okay, all right. Well, look, I had seen a clip of it, and it did sound extraordinary. So, yeah, for sure. Go ahead, OG.
Yeah, I was just, not to digress too far, but I just feel like, she the way she delivered her performance, she put so much heart into that. I can watch it 10 times. I still get goosebumps watching her performance in front of Cinderella's castle. I would love to have seen more of that. Just these heart kind of tugging moments. I know it's not park related, but it was just one of those moments where it's like she's singing with this gorgeous voice and the fireworks going off behind her. It was a really emotional moment compared to what happened on October 1st. A lot of that stuff felt so corporate. This would have been a welcome change,
and that's the difference in mentality, right? This is why I bring up what happened during the 50th in 2005, because a lot of it was for the guests. A lot of it was for the guests that were there, and it was simply filmed for an audience that couldn't be there, obviously. For Walt Disney World, everything was filmed for an audience that wasn't there currently. And you could even see that on the day on October 1st, 2021. They filmed this Good Morning America segment, had the fireworks go off for that segment without telling the guests what was even going on. So they just see these mortars go off, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. What's that's all about? That was for the Good Morning America segment at the time. But it's just like they didn't show Bob Chapek, Bob Iger out there, in front of guests. Christina Aguilera, and even your example, OG, that wasn't performed for the guests. That was performed for the cameras. And it's like, that's the kind of the difference here. And look, I know, Rick Disney brings up a good point about the, attendance levels at Walt Disney World not being comparable to what Disneyland was going through at the time. I get that, but couldn't you have done a virtual queue for, something like the Emporium? Couldn't you have done, virtual experiences to kind of handle that better? They did that with food. Right. Obviously, the wait times were long, but I think for merchandise, that could have even been better and would have worked out to a better situation. I had to implement those systems sooner. They did do those later that day as well, and at the Emporium specifically. So, maybe starting out with some of those policies instead of having to kind of react to them might have been better for a guest experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been an interesting conversation about the Battle of the 50s. I think really to kind of put it in like, wrap it with a big bow is kind of like, I think the main takeaway from all of this is that both 50s had pros and cons and strengths and weaknesses, but I think that it just seems to be the consensus that Disneyland's was a little bit more of an intimate, more of a feels more personal of a celebration, where the Florida one feels a little more corporate, a little more synergistic.
And another thing I have to add to it for both resorts that I'm sort of kind of not for is when they add these little pop-up things for social media, where it's like, okay, you have a background wall or you hold this for social media. For me, I get it that they want to get things out, but That's
Right.
not being in the moment. I love when you go to Disney, you're enjoying the moment, not going there for publicity. You're not going there for this big media thing where it's okay. Again, on a corporate level, that's what you do. I
Right.
love, as we were talking about, the intimate, what I like to call the intimate portrait, so to speak,
Right.
of what Disney's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, what do you got? What do you guys think? Should we dive into some comments, some super chats?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Let's do it. I'm gonna start from the top. So
I want to say, Rogue Disney, thank you for coming on. We'll have fun at Universal, buddy. That's gonna be good. Yeah, they did implement a queue at the merch shop in Big Top Souvenirs. Like I said, though, could have started out with that, but that's another story. Thank you for coming on.
yeah, absolutely, Rogue. Have fun at Universal, man, and thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate it. We really do.
Yeah, take care and definitely come back.
Yes, yes. So my very first super chat ever is from Theme Park Casual. Theme Park Casual, thank you so much. He gifts $2 and says, congrats, looking forward to more live streams. Theme Park Casual, we will definitely be doing more live streams. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. I love interacting with you guys. I know Dre and George also love that interaction. This is something that we're going to be doing much more often going forward. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it because more to come for sure. Absolutely. And then we got our buddy Ranking the Mouse.
Yeah, boy.
He says, shockingly, I got to go Walt Disney World. I didn't think they'd win any category.
I think that was for the attractions category. And yes, you got to give it to them. Also, too, we didn't touch on it, but food, they killed it with the food game. Ain't no lie there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, okay, so let's go down to this one. It says here, Alma, but let me see something real quick. If I put show, oh, there we go. Look at me learning the live stream. Look at this. All right. So, actually, here, real quick though, before I do that, let me go ahead and give some props to Theme Park Casual again, buddy. Thank you so much for that $2 super chat, and we will be doing more live streams for sure. And then Alma Basurdo says, "This is the question. This is the question right here." She's asking, "Do you think Walt Disney would be upset with how Disneyland is today?" I'll kick this off, and then I'll go to Dre, and then we'll go down to George. Do I think he would be upset with how Disneyland is today? The general feeling I get would be no, because what was Walt Disney's prime goal when it comes to Disneyland? An ever-changing sandbox to play in, right? He didn't want it to be a museum. He didn't want it. Look, a lot of fans, they don't like change, but the fact of the matter is Walt Disney did not want this place to stagnate. He didn't want it to be a museum. He wanted it to change. And look, that doesn't mean you're going to love every single change. There are going to be things at the park when they change them that you might not like, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, I think he would be happy with how much it has changed. I think Disneyland in particular has actually done a really good job at that balance of the nostalgia and kind of bringing in the new. If you look at old video, if you go to Disney Plus and watch like the Disneyland story and things like that, you'd be surprised at how much of Disneyland still looks the same. There's a lot of the area of the park that does look the same, but there's enough there now that's so different. You know, you have Galaxy's Edge and the way Tomorrowland looks and the way there's so many things there now, Toontown or what have you. So, yeah, I think overall he would be happy. I like Dre mentioned, he probably would have hated the partner statue.
Yeah,
I don't think he would have wanted to be, but hey, look, Walt kind of did similar things with his heroes, didn't he? I mean, he built an entire attraction to Abe Lincoln.
That's true. That is true.
Walt, you're our hero. So we're going to build a statue of you, just like you built a whole attraction for Abraham Lincoln, right? It's the same kind of idea as like, hey, look, you know what? You're our hero, Walt. You know, we respect and enjoy your work, and the statue is just something to kind of have your memory live on, I think.
Now, OG, you can go ahead and explain it to Walt. I don't think it'll pass the muster, but while you're there, you can also explain to him why that People Mover track is not occupied right now and just sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I wouldn't want. If Walt ever came back, I wouldn't want to be in the room and have to tell him about that one. I wouldn't want. Yeah, that's inexcusable.
Let's just put it of what Walt always said: if it did or did not, that will not work.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Theme park casual over here. Change is good, but Court of Angels, losing Court of Angels and Disney Gallery stinks. Yeah, it does. Yeah, those kind of things I don't think he would be too pleased about. But it kind of depends. Walt was so into so many different things. I think he would like the ambition of some works, but maybe not like, I think about like Jungle Cruise and Indiana Jones, and it's like, man, he didn't want Haunted Mansion to look decrepit and to look aged and so forth. Like, how would he think of those kind of things being in the park? These things that were, that were kind of, they're supposed to be aged in that way to make them feel kind of otherworldly and kind of put you at another place in time altogether. What would you think about those? I'm not sure.
Yeah. What do you think, George? What would, to answer Alma's question, do you think Walt Disney would be upset with how Disneyland is today?
Kind of going off what you were saying, OG, I think as far as the progression of the parks themselves and how they're updated and expanded, I think, again, it's not even a guess or a question. That's what he wanted. He wanted things to grow. He wanted things to expand as technology became, a better part of, that's what Epcot was supposed to be, he was ahead of his time. So before the future could catch up with Walt Disney, he was already ahead of the future. So that's what he wanted. As I had mentioned briefly earlier, I think it's, more of an operations issue, I think, that Walt would have a problem with as far as how the parks are being run, on a day-to-day schedule. And because he always put his fans and his guests first. Right. And I think that it's starting to kind of feel like we're being kind of put, we're in the dust here, so it's like we got to, bring it back up to what Walt wanted, because again, even though this is a corporate company, it's still based off of the history and the philosophy of the man who founded the company.
Well, yeah, and it feels kind of like when it comes to like these a la carte attractions with Genie Plus and what have you, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of kind of like almost like regressing, right? Mm-hmm. Because this feels very akin to what when the parks opened with the ticket books. Not the same, not the same exactly, but I feel like we've already moved past that era of like a la carte attractions and like, paying for individual attractions or transportation or what have you. And now we're kind of going back to that. I feel like it is kind of like a regressive thing. They're not moving forward. It's more like kind of,
it is kind of a regressive thing, and it's looking to your competition, seeing what they do and implementing those same policies just because they do it. It's like, or at least, you can get away with it because they do it too. It's like, come on, that's bad reasoning. Walt never looked behind. He always looked forward. He always looked at improving the guest experience. And honestly, back in the day with ticket books, it was the way to maintain the quality of some of those attractions. Right. The way they could. We're now looking at an era where it's like you're, $15 for this attraction, that attraction, on top of the already inflated price of entry, on top of the already inflated price of parking and merch and food and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Alma, so much for that question. That was a phenomenal question. Mm-hmm. We could do a whole day on that topic. I mean, that's amazing.
Oh man, crazy.
And Bran Tanoka. Hi, I'm Brandon. I have something to ask everyone. Okay, so in the comments section, you're more than welcome to join in on this one. Next year, will hugging characters make a comeback? Yeah, look, I think so. Yeah. In my opinion, I think that we're gonna get pretty much back to norm. I think by next year. Well, I don't know. Next year's what?
See, that's what I'm thinking. Now, I know it will come back. I don't think it's going to be back next year.
Yeah, because next year
this long just for Disney to kind of implement character one-on-one interactions without actually being able to hug them or have an autograph sign. So if it took this long just to even get one-on-one social distance interactive with the characters, I think I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it definitely will come back. I just don't think it's going to be within a year. I think they're going to probably wait till the 50th kind of dies down after the 18-month celebration, and then maybe kind of look forward, to the next steps after the 50th, as far as for Walt Disney World goes.
Yeah, because you got to think, like, it's already mid-October. January is now far away. So next year, I mean, I don't know, but let's see. Let's see what happens with the Pandy. Let's see what the numbers look like in a few months. Let's see what happens with everything else, the circumstances around that. It's possible. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that. What do you think, Dre?
I would, it wouldn't surprise me if they did like summer of 2022. Maybe some of these policies started being implemented back in. Of course, it's dependent on a lot of factors, so it's really hard. As this whole pandy's at the front of people's minds, you push these things further and further down the line. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hopeful for 2022. Maybe mid 2022, but I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Great question, Brent. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next is from Marshawn, Disney Diva Thomas, just saying hi. I think my live or my love, I'm not sure, with you, Mr. Orange. Not staying on here. I am at work. Great day to all. Keep that magic, Disney Diva. Well, thank you, Disney Diva. Disney Diva comments on my videos all the time, and I do appreciate all her support. She's fantastic. Thank you, Disney Diva. Thank you.
Really
you.
Good.
Yeah, she's awesome. Really, really sweet lady, and I do appreciate all your support. So kind of going down here, now we have one from Mr. Rogue Disney. How were the hotels spruced up during Disneyland's 50th? Curiosity. To be honest with you, Dre, do you remember any sprucing up for the hotels?
Sure don't. No, look. Well, the Paradise Pier and Grand Californian,
but I'm still waiting for the spruced up for the Disneyland hotels.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
the Disneyland hotel was refurbed pretty heavily a couple years back. Now it would have been probably the late
2009, right?
Late aughts, right? I was just thinking the same thing, like right around there. And again, you have to remember in the 50th, 2005, what debuts even 4 or 5 years earlier, the Grand Californian and the Paradise Pier Hotel. Those were Paradise Pier is just a rethemed building entirely, but Grand Californian was new. It was brand new at that point. No need to refurb that really. But yeah, Disneyland Hotel. I think it was same old. In fact, there might actually be footage on one of these videos that I shared earlier about that. I'd have to look, but I think they were still the same. So and the pool complex and everything, that I know that's definitely the same. Even back then. So no sprucing up of the hotels, unfortunately.
Yeah. And look, also keep in mind too that in 2005, the Grand Californian was only 4 years old.
Right.
So they just built a brand new resort hotel.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't really too much, I guess, in terms of the hotels, but we did just get a brand new one a few years prior. So,
And this gets into the discussion of when you have stuff that debuts during the celebration, is it necessarily was that the intention going forward, or is that just the kind of the timing of everything that happens? So I would say myself personally, I don't know. That's kind of a Walt Disney World ops thing, but I suppose, you can add that into the equation as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And this next comment is from Crystal Ray Today, and she just says, "Hi everyone." Now, Crystal Ray is another long time subscriber. She's been with me, Crystal. I think you've been with me since day one. I've been seeing your comments on my channel since I think I started in 2016. So thank you so much for all your support over the last 5 years of Orange Grove 55. I really do appreciate it, Crystal Ray. Thank you.
Denise says later on there, which we'll get into. She might be in a moment, but IKEA themed rooms, yeah.
Yes, actually, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and see here. Yeah, Denise. Let's see here. Give me one moment. kind of going through all the comments.
Yeah, make sure we don't forget anybody who actually legitimately asked a question here.
Theme Park Casual wrote, some change is good, great even, but man, losing the Court of Angels in Disney Gallery stinks. Now, for those of you that are not aware, the Court of Angels was that beautiful staircase and little court area that leads into Club 33. And that used to be a public area. Now, obviously, Club 33 wasn't a public area, but that courtyard right down there by the staircase was, and that was closed off a few years ago when they renovated Club 33. George, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, did you ever experience the Court of Angels, George? Like, did you ever go in there, or are you too much? Because I know you said you were a late bloomer with Disney.
Yeah, the Court of Angels I have not. The Disney Gallery I have. So I was able to experience it, and I really would, just of that alone. I mean, it's unfortunate that we lost something of that was so important and within the park itself. And again, it's like Disney is trying to make changes, which is good, but I mean, I think they're losing the point of what actually should stay and what goes. And I think rather than take it out completely, make it better, plus it as Walt would, but that doesn't mean necessarily take that out completely. There's certain things to say, hey, we should completely take out and replace, and other things that we should just kind of make touch-ups to. And the Disney Gallery for me was one of them.
Yeah. That was a tough one. They closed off Court of Angels. Disney Gallery was really fun to walk up there and kind of check everything out.
Cool.
Yeah, I was sad to see that go. Now it's the Dream Suite, right? Is it still the Dream Suite?
It's the Dream Suite, but apparently it's not, because it's like shut down. It's like you can't even. And that's the other thing. Like, even they put so much money into those suites, even the Cinderella Castle Suite at Walt Disney World, right? And it's unoperational. It's just a room that's just sitting there collecting dust. It's like,
yeah. I mean, they with 21. Royal, the kind of exclusive. I think it's like, what is it? 15,000 for like, and you have to have a minimum of 12 people, something like that. And it's this. At least it existed pre-Pandy, and you could do this, and you get to eat up in one of the rooms that was dedicated for the Dream Suite. They've converted it now into a dining area, and like as the lounge, you have the Dream. You have the Dream Suite basically all to yourself, and you can kind of visit the different rooms and see it that way. So they did make use of it. I just would have preferred it to be a little bit more public, because that veranda, that view out there is gorgeous.
Because Ranking the Mouse says it's not the Dream Suite anymore. It's now an addition to Club 33. That's what he's saying.
I'm not sure about that one. I do know they changed some of the stuff up there when they redid Club 33, because they did expand Club 33. I don't know if the gallery though was part of that. I don't believe it was. It
would have to have been limited to a couple of rooms. I don't think it was. I don't think they took up the whole space. It's still there. The Dream Suite is still there. Like the bulk of it anyway is still there. They did redo one room for a dining area for like the 21 Royal that I talked about earlier, but
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Theme Park Casual. As always, thank you so much for your support. And he followed up with, I think Walt would like many of the holiday overlays. I do too. I think Walt would love the the holiday overlays. The one thing that really makes me upset though with the holiday overlays is this, and this is a nerd thing, and most people are probably not even gonna understand maybe where I'm coming from with this. But what makes me mad about the holiday overlays is the damage a lot of the overlays do to the structures.
It's a big thing with you, OG.
It's a big thing with me. It's a big thing with me because look, if you can't do it, because here's the thing, the holidays are only here for a few months a year. Mm-hmm. So you do these holiday overlays and it's good from November to January. What about the rest of the year? I don't want February until October for the castle to be dented and damaged and beaten up and look hideous for 2 months of holidays at Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? I would rather not have the holiday overlay if it meant keeping the castle look good all year. This has been an issue for me for a long time. Now, we recently got a renovated castle. They did the rooftops, they painted it. It looks beautiful right now. And they just installed the snow top roofs. Please be careful when you do that, Disney. Please don't dent and damage that castle. It does. I think it matters. I think that if you can't do it without damaging the castle, or you can't add the lights to Small World without damaging the facade, then you probably shouldn't do them. This is my opinion. It's probably an unpopular one, but
the story behind them refurbing the castle was because of the overlays, because they had done so much damage over them for such a long period of time that it was like, okay, we kind of had to, we had to shore this up, obviously make it look show ready, but also make it so that we can install these overlays and they not do as much damage. That's why the roofs that I think were wood back then, or maybe it was a fiberglass, they have now been constructed as metal, if I'm not mistaken. So stronger materials, durable, at least facilitate these overlays if you're going to do them. That's not a bad thing. But the attractions themselves, they go through a lot. And sometimes I'll notice some marks and stuff. It's like, that's probably done by, some tech going in there, rushing through it and scrape something. That was it. So, what are you going to do?
Overall though, I do concur. I think Walt would love the holiday overlays. Halloween, Christmas. No one does the holidays like Disney. The shows they put on with the castle and the snow and the Christmas music is beautiful. I just wish, hopefully they, like you said, Dre, they addressed the damage of the structures. Then I'm all good. What do you think? And
especially with the haunted holidays, because now that I actually got to physically see the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay in the Haunted Mansion, which, that to me fits so perfect with the Disneyland themed version of the Haunted Mansion. And a lot of people ask me, up until the point before I experienced it myself, would like it over at Walt Disney World, so you can have a more opportune time to experience it. And I said, honestly, I really wouldn't. I don't think it would fit well with the style and for Walt Disney World, because you also have to think too, Walt Disney World is more of a bigger tourist destination with a lot of people. So if you have the Haunted Mansion down for that amount of time, right, and these people are banking on having that attraction ready to ride, so for Disneyland, I think it fits more better within that theme.
Absolutely. Pre-Pandy, I think they got it down to like 2 weeks, but also Tokyo does an overlay, and their Haunted Mansion is very similar to Walt Disney World, so you never know.
You never know. That would be pretty cool. I love Haunted Mansion Holiday. That stretching room when the glass breaks, and it's just, oh man, it's so good. Cool. It's so good. So Denise submitted a $10 super chat. Denise, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dre, I think you might know Denise. Am I mistaken here?
I think I might. I think I might know her a little bit. I'll let the chat figure that out. But yeah, it's cool that she's watching.
Yeah,
hi, Denise.
It's very, very cool.
These fellas know who she is too. Love her very much. That's very, very cool.
Thank you. It was awesome. It was awesome. Finally meeting you at Disneyland a few weeks ago, and hopefully we can all do that again soon. That was a phenomenal time.
Yes, it really was.
Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely great. And thank you so much, Denise, for the you said thank you for all the great content. Love the live chat. Hope to see you all back at Disneyland real soon. Yes, definitely. We'll do it soon. We'll definitely do it soon. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely. And let's see that. And then Denise follows up. Have you heard the rumor about 12/15/2021 boycott of Disney parks or merch to show Disney how the guests are feeling? That's interesting, Denise. I actually did not hear that.
Don't be too sucked in.
Is she heading up the brigade?
Yeah, don't be sucked into that. Somebody that Denise is affiliated with is starting to, he's been in my ear a lot really about this. It's not, there's nothing happening there. So you don't want to spread disinformation. Now, look, I will say, here's the thing. I will say about this. The only way the Disney parks, Park Experience Products Division, Josh DeMar, Bob Chapek, whoever you want to pin this on, the only way they listen is if we come together here. Right. And stop giving them, our money in exchange for some of these bad policies that they're doing.
Based off of the theme park reservation systems being all booked up through the end of the year, I think we're kind of on the backhand of that.
Yeah, exactly. So look,
we're on the backside of water.
Exactly.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
So our good friend Sean, shout out to Sean, Ranking the Mouse, which, by the way, you guys, Ranking the Mouse has a YouTube channel, so definitely check him out. He is awesome. But he's saying no Disney Gallery. He said no Disney Gallery is definitely a huge bummer. At least we got the Tropical Hideaway edition recently. That's true. Tropical Hideaway is awesome.
Yeah, Tropical Hideaway is awesome.
Tropical Hideaway was a hit out of the box, no question about it. When they did Aladdin's Oasis, it never fit Adventureland, and it was walled off, and it was kind of this foreboding structure.
And really, Walt Disney World should take a note of that, because we have a huge section of an Aladdin themed in Adventureland, and I tell you, it is the pimple to every butt.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Mr. Peter Vasquez says, thank you guys for all the great content. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate all your support, man, and discussions. Orange Grove, I was intrigued by your suggestion of removing Incredicoaster and replacing it with a boardwalk. What rides would you add? So I recently stated that I wouldn't mind if they removed the Incredicoaster, because it's a hot mess right now. Let's be honest, you guys. It's a hot mess with the babies on sticks, and it's hey,
you know what? For Disney to save money, just take the Jack-Jacks on a stick, transport them to Walt Disney World, and add them to Kite Tails.
Right, there you go. There you go. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But so what I would do, I think there's a resort in Florida, Disney's Beach Boardwalk Resort, I believe.
There's three of them around the Epcot area. It's Disney's Boardwalk, Disney's Yacht Club, and Disney's Beach Club.
Okay, well, the one with the boardwalk with the gorgeous, kind of like Victorian, it was almost like Main Street on water. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, look, I would support completely bulldozing Incredicoaster and just having that beautiful architecture line the pier. I'd be fine with that. And what rides would you add? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, dark rides though, obviously I would house them in those giant buildings. I just think that aesthetically that would work so much better. Not only that, it would do a much better job at kind of blocking out that outside world. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the brightest and smartest decision for Disney to create a acting berm of the park that you can see through. That kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. Mm-hmm. The coaster in that spot didn't make a whole lot of sense. Hey, look, and I know a lot of people love Incredicoaster, and that's fine. I respect that. I just, for me personally, would much rather see them have a more fleshed out backdrop to that pier. But what do you think, Dre? Would you be okay with that, or do you think losing the coaster would be a little too much for the park?
If you look at the Boardwalk Resort, I mean, even the touches that they do in the lobby and check-in area and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's very much into that kind of Victorian style that you would have thought that Disney California Adventure would have played into back in 2001, but they did it on the cheapest budget possible, and unfortunately, we're still living with that today, which is really unfortunate. So yes, I would very much love to see the kind of the boardwalk that you see in Walt Disney World make its way down in Anaheim. I think it would be awesome, and is really a lot of the allure of staying at those nearby resort properties.
What do you think, George?
It's sort of like how you said earlier, OG. Sometimes too much is too much. Right. So I think as far as adding a boardwalk, an actual boardwalk for the pier, it would be so much better themed. And I think because of the scope of the Incredicoaster itself, right, it just sticks out like an eyesore. And I think if they kind of low key it down a little bit and maybe add a few dark rides, maybe, make like a Mexican Riviera type of boardwalk, where you can add Coco into it and you can still keep it that Pixar theme. But the Incredicoaster, I mean, as far as me being a thrill junkie, I love the coaster. As far as Disney theme immersiveness, it is very tacky.
Yeah, I agree. And be careful when you say low key it down, because maybe some Disney people are watching this and they might actually think you want a low key attraction.
Oh no!
Let me rephrase that. Not a low key attraction, because technically that's what we already have there. Let's up that, but let's keep it like very subtle. That's the word I'll use.
I know. I'm just messing with you, George. I'm just messing with you.
I know. But no. I see, you know me, but Disney doesn't know that. Right? So it's like they'll take it.
Hey, they want a Loki ride. Loki coaster it is.
Loki came up in the algorithm. That's what they want.
They want. There you go.
Yeah. Wait, maybe I didn't say low key. Maybe I said Loki.
That's what I'm saying. Loki.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, move it to Avengers Campus.
There you go. So Aaliyah, good friend of the channel, Aaliyah. Thank you so much, Aaliyah, for your comment. She's saying exhibits are now near the Lincoln attraction, correct? Still not the same feel as Disney Gallery. Yeah, that is true. That's absolutely true. And you're right. It isn't the same. It doesn't feel the same at all.
And they, to their credit, they did expand that area out to include more, art to be, exhibited there. If you remember the previous setup, it didn't allow for so much of that. So they did kind of reconfigure it and stuff like that, but it just doesn't. It's just not the same. It's just not the same as being in what was formerly the Disney Gallery. Shame.
Yeah, absolutely. Any comments on that before we move to the next one, George?
No, I agree with you both. I think, as far as that goes, they did a good job as far as, keeping up with it. But I really wish the Disney Gallery would have stuck around.
Yeah. And by the way, Aaliyah, a great contributor to the channel. She got a lot of good stuff. I just want to shout out to her because she's been doing phenomenal work when it comes to contributing and interacting with us. That's awesome. I still got to get back to your DM. I'll get back to that.
No, Aaliyah is awesome, and she's been really on top of this whole Chapek thing, the corporate side of the company about Chapek and all the maneuvering, like that corporate maneuvering and everything, and she's been really getting a lot of great information in regards to all that. So yeah, Aaliyah, thank you so much for your support, and thank you all for all the information that you send our way. We all really, really do appreciate it. Thank you. And Sean, Ranking the Mouse, says, Sean, what do you guys think of the future of Critter Country? What do you think the future of Critter Country is, especially once Tiana takes over Splash Mountain? Here to stay or short future? In my opinion, I think that it's sort of like a situation similar to that of Condor Flats at DCA. There comes a point when your land is so small it's not worth having anymore, and that it should be consumed by the next biggest land. So if you already have New Orleans creeping into Splash Mountain, is there even any point of having Critter Country? What would even be Critter Country? Would it be half the walkway that's facing Pooh? So the Splash Mountain side of the walkway is New Orleans, and the right hand side is Pooh. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I'd much rather it all be enveloped into the New Orleans thing at this point. There's not much left. What do you think?
Well, do you think if they do this, depending on what on the theme they go with and how they translate Tiana into that space, do you think New Orleans, like you said, it obviously gets encompassed into there? Does New Orleans Square get a name change? Like just New Orleans at that point?
Yeah, that's interesting. Or maybe the area where Tiana
or like a subtitle, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. A subtitle. Sam Carter, who's been a guest on the show, actually, a fantastic artist. I think he did work for Wonderground and stuff. He came up with a poster for that back area. He called it New Orleans Back Bayou. So it was sort of like a New Orleans sub area to New Orleans Square. And I thought that was a real clever approach to that. So maybe they can do something like that. There could be New Orleans Square, and there can be like a back bayou section of New Orleans. I think that'd be kind of interesting. But
I do agree that Critter Country really should just be done after Splash Mountain gets the refurb. I just don't know if Disney is willing to give up Winnie the Pooh. And if that's the case, they ain't
going to.
And then you have adjacent right next to it is Hungry Bear. So it's like they would they could always retheme Hungry Bear. Like they could just change the name to that. That's not a problem. But as far as the attraction of the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh goes, Is it possible that they could just relocate the attraction anywhere in Disneyland?
They're not going to go to that lengths. They never really have. Honestly, what I think is Winnie the Pooh's supposed to be taking place in the 100-acre wood.
Yeah.
And if you know the 100-acre wood, like it's in Europe, it's in, kind of like, just outside of London or whatever. It doesn't really look like the 100-acre wood right now. So it's not like 100% in the theme. I just think Winnie the Pooh he just gets translated to the deep south is what happens there. So
can we get rid of Pooh and add a Kermit the Frog swamp dark ride, please? Thank you.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be fantastic, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. The Muppets aren't exactly a super hot franchise right now, unfortunately.
Bring back the Country Bears. Bring back the Country. No, go ahead.
Bring them back, and bring back the dinos to Epcot for our friend Showcase of Wishes.
Yeah, yeah. Bring back the dinos.
Bring them back.
Put them in the land.
Yes. So Aaliyah writes again, I agree with you, OG. Only do holiday overlays if there is no damage or damage greatly. Yeah, you can't damage the park for the rest of the year to have 2 months of an amazing holiday celebration. It's kind of like like having like a big wedding at your house. And everyone coming over and like destroying things and like like tagging the walls and busting out windows. Yeah, it's wonderful. You had a huge wedding, but now you have a house that looks messed up. Like you kind of have to balance the two. You have to like maintain what your house's integrity at the same time of like having a nice wedding. Same thing with the Disney parks. You have to maintain the look of the park all year while also having those holidays. You can't neglect one to the other,
Right.
So.
Oh, and also, I just got the notification. Aaliyah, thank you for the Twitter follow. I will definitely follow you back.
Nice.
And then she follows up with also give feedback in their official surveys. Do not only vent on social media.
Absolutely.
And she hits the nail on the head with that one.
Mm-hmm.
They really pay attention to those surveys. That's why they basically tackle you when you walk in to do them. And especially right now, we're heard Chapek is data driven. So
we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see what that means.
Yeah, he wants that data, and we'll see. Yeah, exactly. We'll see how long that lasts. But so it definitely makes a difference, though, you guys. Seriously, like if you do participate in those surveys, if you don't like Genie Plus, don't buy into it. Don't say you hate it and then give them your money. If you're giving them your money, you're endorsing it.
Oh, that's a whole nother subject matter on Genie Plus. Yeah, I think about it right now.
That's a whole nother thing.
I'm surprised nobody's commented with anything about Genie Plus. I thought that's what everybody would want to talk about, but got some Disneylanders, huh?
Yeah, not one Genie Plus comment yet. Grant J writes, I agree with George. Wow, someone agrees with George? This is amazing.
we should freeze frame that one.
Dude?
Oh boy.
I need to hang that up on my wall.
Right? You got to frame that bad boy. Yeah. I agree with George. Why not relocate Winnie the Pooh to another part of Disneyland, preferably in Fantasyland? Yeah, Grant. I mean, I would in an ideal world, I would want that too. I mean, I would, or even like DCA. I mean, even if you put it in Hollywood Land, I guess. I mean, but unfortunately, I think Dre, you're right on that. I think they're not going to put the money into that. Unfortunately, they'll dress.
Can I just have my moment?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't have a drop for that. I wish I did. Well, that's funny.
It's fine. But yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right. I think they're probably at the very most they'll kind of maybe Winnie the Pooh will get some new signage out front that will be more Bayou inspired. That's a possibility,
Yeah.
But in terms of relocating the attraction and stuff, probably not. So unfortunately.
Oh, here we go. I got one. Here we go.
Life finds a way.
See, life found a way, George. Somebody agree with you finally.
There you go.
To button up this point, though, maybe you could have the motion simulators from Star Tours be transported and placed somewhere else. That might be a possibility, but attraction, infrastructure, custom track, I don't think so.
Yeah. Our friend Theme Park Casual writes, fill in the old motorboat cruise area and create the 100-acre wood. That was actually a rumor years ago. I think there was a Jim Hill article about that years and years and years ago. I would love to see that. That would work very well.
Pooh's Honey Hunt. Give us Pooh's Honey Hunt.
Yes, in Tokyo, absolutely.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. And
I'd take that.
Yeah, Bran Tanioka. Bran, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. I do apologize, brother. But do you think Pooh should go to Disneyland forward? I would love a Pooh themed land. I mean, maybe Pooh. Like from what I hear, Pooh still is like a monster in regards to merch.
Yeah. No,
maybe they can do that. Maybe they want a whole land based on it because it does bring in the moolah when it comes to the merch.
Back a number of years ago, this would have been like Michael Eisner, Bob Iger transitionary area. I mean, Pooh used to do second most merch, second only to Mickey Mouse.
Wow.
It moved.
Amazing.
It moved. That's kind of waned, but I'm telling you, it was very popular.
Then this guy came to town.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's it, right?
No one's messing with this guy in terms of merch.
Yup.
He flushed poo down the toilet.
There you go. And Denise, thank you so much. She says,
Thank
show
you,
George,
Denise.
show George some love. Yes, we love George. We do. George is awesome. George is awesome. And for those of you
100%.
watching, actually, George has his own show here on OG55 called Citrus Corner. If you're a Florida Walt Disney World fan, or that's your home park or what have you, that's his specialty. He does all of his videos are Walt Disney World and like the cruise lines and stuff like that. So it's a fun time. Check out on my channel the playlist. It's right there. You can check it all out. So it's really, really good stuff.
Good stuff.
So that seems to be about it in terms of comments. That was a really fun first live stream, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
That was really, really fun. We got a lot of great feedback. And for those of you watching, we're going to be doing these. We're all the time. Let's be honest. We're going to do live streams all the time because it's fun to have these conversations, interact with you guys. And, you guys bring a lot to the table that we might not consider. Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's really, really fun. And
it's a nice breath of fresh air because we interact with you guys on social media and then we talk about it, while we record or vice versa. So now this is a way that we can combine both where we can incorporate you into the show. So
Yeah.
that's always nice.
Absolutely. And it'll be the same format too. We'll have a topic, for these live shows. The panel will discuss the topic and then we'll dedicate like the last half hour or so to like super chats and things like that. So it's sort of this, kind of a clean, situation where we're not,
It allows people to join as well. As people kind of start funneling in, get the notification, stuff like that. It allows people to kind of, join the stream, so to speak, put their comment in. And we dedicate the show to you guys afterwards. I think it's a great format.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go through. I'm going to go through my panel right now. We're going to close things out on our very, very first live stream. I'm going to start right here with Mr. VashSky, host of Freshly Squeezed. Thank you, brother, for coming on to this live stream and joining me today. And if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media.
Best place to find me, to interact with me, is going to be on Twitter at VashSky. It's right down there, just like it's spelled. And best place to see me is going to be on your channel, OrangeGo55. At Freshly Squeezed, your source for juice, news, and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove. So that's where you can find me. I got a drop too that I've been saving on, so we'll play it at the end. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. But,
okay, cool. And real quick, Bran, you said, can you email me? Yes, you can. I'm going to actually drop you my email right now, brother.
Oh, in the chat.
You can send me a topic idea either through my email or just right there in the chat. Either way is really fine.
Yeah, as the news, we're at this point now where the news is kind of slowing down a little bit. This would be a great time to kind of float your thoughts and kind of see what you think and where we should go. So good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we pull a lot from the comments on the videos and stuff like that, where sometimes like the questions will become their own video. I've had recently, like I think like a week or two ago, I had someone's question become its own video. So we pull from the comments quite a bit. So yeah, if you have a topic, please by all means submit it, Brand. We'd love to hear it. George, where can everybody at home find you, sir, on social media?
You can find me on my own YouTube channel at Disney Family Man 23, which is also my Instagram. And you could also reach out to me on Twitter at Disney George, which a few of you have already done during the process of this live show. I really do appreciate that. And also on Orange Grove 55's channel with my segment of Citrus Corner. I import those juicy, knowledgeable Disney tidbits over to the East Coast for Walt Disney World and the Disney Cruise Lines. So definitely check that out on his channel as well.
Absolutely. So yes, check both of these gentlemen out on Orange Grove 55 playlist. We have Freshly Squeezed playlist right there. And we have Mr. Citrus Corner, Disney Family Man 23 down below. Check out both of their content. They do phenomenal content. And I can't thank them enough for all the hard work they put into this channel. It means the world to me. It really does. And thank you both. And thank you all so much for watching this first live stream. We'll be back. We'll be doing more.
Wait. Got to do the O'Reilly drop.
Oh, do it.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Had to do it. For our first live show, have to leave it off.
Oh, no. See, that's going to be the thing. You have to drop that every live show at the end.
You see, no, we have to. I was going to start the show with them, but now we have to. It's going to be our tradition.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, if you want, maybe we could even. Yeah, if you want to start it with it, that'd be a good kickoff, right?
Yeah.
The Diz Unplug has Stay Out of the Damn Lakes. We have O'Reilly.
Go live. That's fantastic.
I was laughing to myself while I was ending it. I'm like, this is hilarious. This is so funny.
Absolutely great. Well, thank you all. And thank you for everybody who sent in a super chat. Denise, Theme Park Casual, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you, Aaliyah, and let me see, Bran and Grant J and Disney Rogue, everybody. Thank you so much. Or Rogue Disney, I'm sorry. And Crystal Ray today. It was a great conversation about the 50th for Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And keep stay tuned for more content coming forward, coming out in the days and weeks to come. I do appreciate the support and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.